Try to get through this. I don't think you can do it. Nope. It's pretty fucking hard. Welcome back. Let's dev. Let's go. All right, we're going to jump right into it here. This is Let's Dev with Greg. We're going to talk about parallaxing backgrounds today. That's what I want to start with. So you can see, to do that, you need a couple of things. So this is parallaxing in 2D. By parallaxing, I mean, so we'll just show you, for those of you who don't know what that is, it means that like there are different layers of the background that are going to be moving differently as we move around. So you can kind of see as I walk to the right, like our player is walking on the same spectral plane as like all of this stuff, like our mid-ground stuff, right? Like we are moving on this plane. Now, there's also stuff in the background that is moving on the same plane as well, but we're not interacting with it, right? Like this is clearly background, this waterfall background, this cave is a background, but this tree, this enemy, this ground here, not background, right? That's midground. Those are all moving on the same layer. Now, notice in the back we have multiple, there's clouds, there's other waterfalls or little bridges. Those are moving at a different rate of speed. Let me just get back up here. So you see how that's moving at a different rate of speed than we are as players. So, and there's a couple different levels to that. So if you notice, like the clouds don't all move at the same at the same rate, right? Like this, they're kind of moving faster, and some of them are moving faster than others. Anyway, so that's what parallaxing effect is. To be honest, I'm not using it to like a great degree of effect. There are some games that just, they're mind-blowingly beautiful at how they do this stuff. This is just a very simple implementation. So let's take a look at how this is set up. Again, like this is pretty much just like a test, right? This is just a test sandbox level. So like just keep these concepts in mind, and like the type of stuff we could do in the future could be, much more grandeur and awesome. We could add more than 2 levels of parallaxing, like it just kind of depends on how much setup work you want to do. So these are our cameras. We have a main camera. The main camera renders, as you would expect, the main stuff on our screen, our midground, our background, that type of stuff. So you can see in the camera component, there's this culling mask, and it will, everything that is checked, that's what it's going to render. So it's not going to look at parallax 1 and parallax 2. It's not even going to render that stuff. And you can kind of see the preview. A camera will give you a preview of what that's going to render. So you can see everything here is what this camera is showing. The other nice way to do that is you can just select all these, turn the other cameras off, and maybe I'm lying. I'm potentially lying about that. I'll get back to you. But here for sure works. This preview works. So now that's the main camera. So parallax 1 camera. You can see in the camera preview that this is only rendering the culling mask of parallax 1. Now remember we talked about the culling mask before when we were talking about overlap circle. That's this stuff in the layer mask, right? So it's only going to render these layers. And the same thing with parallax 2. It's the exact same thing as parallax 1, but it's number 2. So now those are the actual cameras. The background camera, I forgot what is special about this. Potentially nothing. I need to look at that. It was a little while since I set that up. Let's look at the environment. This is the actual stuff in our scene. Um, so the environment is the things. I'm not sure exactly. I might cut this part out because I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. You can see that our camera seems to be rendering stuff that, okay, you know what? It's just a renderer error when I'm turning stuff on and off. Probably has to do with shader things. We're back on track here. So the Parallax 1 holds everything that's going to be parallaxing in the Parallax 1 layer. Parallax 2 holds everything that's going to be parallaxing in the Parallax 2 layer. Our background layer is what's going to be rendered by our main camera still. So that's moving differently from the two parallaxing layers, but we're not interacting with this stuff, right? This is stuff that we're in front of, but we're not interacting with. Our midground layer is stuff that is on our plane, and we're interacting with it as players. Like things are interacting with this layer. This is the interaction layer for our game. Some games do really cool things where your player changes what layer it's on, like different tracks, but anyway, that's a whole nother thing. So yeah, that's pretty much as simple as it is. Let's talk about how the effect is actually achieved. So we talked about how it's rendered on. So all of these are cameras, and all of them are set to a orthographic projection. Now, what that means is if it was set to a perspective, it means it would go out into a cone. So you can see how that changes. The field of view changes. It's like a perspective camera. An orthographic camera is looking at it just directly head on with no perspective. So all of our cameras are orthographic, and our size of the camera is different, which means it's changing like the amount that it looks at it there. So similarly to when we were changing that perspective field of view, it's just changing the size. Now notice, so we had that at what, 6? So notice if we like brought this like super like into 1, 1, and when we played it, it scrolled by so fast that you couldn't even tell. Let's go to like 3. Now 23, 3. All right. So now that it's closer, see how it's scrolling fast, like super fast? This almost looks like it should be in the foreground, Which we could do, right? We could put like something that's like kind of alpha'd in front of us. Like what if there was kind of like a cave, like if we're entering this cave and then like they're like on the top of the screen, like and tops and bottom of the screens, there's stuff that's coming like in front of our field of vision, right? That would be what's called a foreground. Die. That would be what's called a foreground, and that's pretty cool too. But for right now, I don't have that stuff just for simplicity. All right. But yeah, I mean, it really is that simple. Like a lot of people get super in depth with their parallaxing stuff, and some people have asked me like multiple times how to set up parallaxing stuff, and it's really not that hard. You just have to have a couple different layers and a couple different cameras, set them to orthographic, and then boom, orthographic parallaxing scrolling. Ba-dum-bum. All right, sweet. So that's that. That was pretty simple, but it's a really cool effect, so I wanted to show you guys it. All right, now let's get into the meat of what I wanted to show you guys today, which was some enemy stuff. All right, so enemy stuff. Showed you a bit of it in the first video, but we have a couple different enemy types, which, that's art. We want prefabs. Enemies. We got a couple different enemies so far, and I just wanted to take you through, let's go through the turret, because I think the turret is kind of cool, and it lets us do some kind of interesting stuff. So, again, we're starting off with our prefab. Let me just turn on my snapping tool. All right, so now we have our snapping. It doesn't actually have to be like on screen. I'm just going to move it over here, but know that that is in effect. So now we're dragging to the points, which is nice. So turret left. So that's going to shoot our bullets left instead of, turret right, we'll shoot right. So where it's deciding that, it's the same script. It's not a different script for those different things, the right and left. It's just this script, and you can see we've got turret type, horizontal and vertical, and then the projectile speed determines if it's going to go left or right. So notice on the right one it's positive and the left one is negative. We could make multiple types like horizontal left, horizontal right, vertical left, vertical or vertical up, vertical down, but that's just the way I decided to set it up. But know that that is an option. This just seems simpler to me. So we have a start delay, which is the amount of time that it takes for it to start shooting. So if we wanted to say create turrets, like create an effect where like we had these two turrets here and we wanted them to stagger their shots, right? This is going to be kind of hard to show, but because they're prefabs, but we would make them separate prefabs. So let's say we would put this on a delay of 0.5, and then this one is on a delay of 1. Theoretically, if I have everything set up right, these will, and they all have the same fire rate, the attack speed, which means it's going to shoot something every 1.5 seconds, and it's going to start after the 1 second, and it's going to shoot it at this speed. So let's play it and see what happens. Bang, 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 bang. So you can create that delayed effect here. And you can see, from a level design perspective, you might want that, right? So yeah, that's what that does. So we also have a spawn location. What this is going to do, it's going to spawn our projectile prefab, which is our bullet, on our location, which is here. This is so that it's not, notice the art file for the turret isn't like directly centered. And so like I wanted the bullet, if we just spawned it at like its normal location, it would spawn here and shoot, which was off center for our bullet hole, right? So we made the spawner, and that actually, because that's the one problem with the auto snapper, it's going to auto snap everything that you touch. So let's turn that back off, and then that would have to move. Notice on here, it's there, right there, right? But since we had the auto snapper on, it moved it back to the center. So we would just, I don't know what's going on. Sometimes when Unity doesn't work right, it just really pisses you off because my snapper is not on. Don't auto snap. Well, there's that. You know what, we're just gonna, okay, this is a good teaching opportunity. You can just revert your prefab changes. So theoretically, there we go. All right, so now it's there. And it should be for this one as well. Yeah. So, okay. Our auto snapper kind of hurt us in that instance, but let's turn it off and put it away. So now when we move stuff around, like it's not snapping to the grid, but whatever. So, okay. Boy, sorry guys, I'm a little tired today. Had a long day of work. But I want to get these web episodes out weekly, so this is what we're doing. We have our turrets here, and I wanted to show you, right, we were on the spawner location, right? So here's the spawner location, and it's going to spawn this bullet projectile. Now, the actual movement of the projectile isn't done by the turret. This is what gives us a lot of what I would call like freedom when we're making enemies. Like we could make a turret, and we could add a turret type that like maybe it spawns 3 like a tri-shot, and it shoots kind of boom, boom, boom. Like we could, and it would have a different art. And we could make something that spawns, um, just all types of crazy different directions and stuff like that, all within this one turret script, and just change the type. And we could even change the um, from here the bullet projectile. So our bullet our bullet is just going to move. We got to open our script here. Our bullet doesn't have anything special on it. It's just going to say we're gonna enter when it's going to kill people when it enters the right thing. It would kill the player. It would destroy its current object, and it would time out itself. So if it's alive for 6 seconds, this is the max alive time, then it would destroy itself, because we don't want a ton of these on the screen at once. That'd be crazy. So I don't know why I showed you that. Turret. The turret is where it's doing most of the heavy lifting here. So we have the turret type. This is a public enum, which is our horizontal and vertical. This is basically the stuff you saw in the editor. Remember, we talked about public variables. They're super nice. And then, so what this is doing is it's starting an attack timer, and it's saying, okay, every update we want to increase the attack timer by time but just seconds, just normal time. If our attack timer is greater than or equal to our attack speed, which remember is set in Unity to 1.5, then we're going to set our attack timer to 0. So we're resetting our attack timer, and then we're going to spawn our projectile, right? Then we're going to say, okay, this is just saying don't collide with whatever you spawned with. So like don't collide with the turret. Then it's going to trigger our attack animation. So whatever we have on here would need to have a trigger with attack. So in our case, this would be the turret. Then it would pick its type. So if it's a horizontal turret, it's going to move that spawn projectile. It's going to get its rigid body, the velocity of that, and it's going to move it at the projectile's speed horizontally. If it's a vertical turret, it's going to move it at the projectile speed vertically and not horizontally. That's pretty simple, right? And so like now this is where I was talking about we could make multiple turret types and just like, okay, spawn, if it's a tri turret, like we spawn additional projectiles. We shoot them at projectile speeds so that it's going. It would be like projectile speed instead of a 0 here. So it's like shooting forward, forward and up, or forward and down if it were both negative, if they were negative and that type of stuff. For more robust stuff, we might need a little bit more robust setup, but this is basically turrets, and the animations for these are pretty cool. We have a idle, which you can see here. It's just real hard to see on the orange background, but it's just kind of a flare. There it is, right there. And then let's see if we can turn our background. Okay, now we can see our animation a little bit better. So you can kind of see it's kind of like, oh, it's it's ready to fire. Then on attack, it's going to be like bang, 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 bang. It's pretty cool on like a rapid fire, like you make something like a rapid fire turret, and that's pretty cool. And then it has everything has a death layer, kind of just collapses. Although this is missing. I have to look into that at some point. Why would that be missing? Does it still work? That is the question. Gotta see if it still works. Oh my god. We've destroyed everything because I don't have this rendering. Alright, we're back. And we also forgot to put that back to... Let me tell you guys. So that was 6, if I remember correctly. Bang. Okay. Let me tell you guys, thinking and talking is hard to do. Oh boy. Okay, that killed me. So it does die, yeah. I don't know what that was, but yeah. Oops. Bang. Oh, it got me. But so like now, oh right, that's this there. We don't want this there anymore. Let's look at the turret. Okay, so let's just from a design perspective, you can kind of see we can make different prefabs with different settings of these, right? So let's crank up the attack speed to, I don't know, 0.25 for all of these. And then you will see it is going to get crazy up in here. Bang, 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 bang. Try to get through this. I don't think you can do it. Oh. Nope. It's pretty fucking hard. There you go. You just shoot them in their big ugly face and then they die. Got them. Or shoot them. Yeah, got them. You know what I mean? It's been a long day. Got me. Those are turrets. See you guys later.